Alright, welcome to our last trigonometry lesson. This guy's on the cosine law. Okay, if you want to see where the cosine law comes from, go to page 491 in your textbook, and they'll show you how to get it. Notice you'll always be given the cosine law on tests and quizzes, so you don't need to memorize it. I will give you that right there. Okay, so let's have a look at how we use this. So in each triangle, determine the length of QR. So QR is going to be this side right here. Okay. There's two possible ways to use the cosine law. I think the easiest way is to just change the letters on your triangle. If you do that, notice we're looking for side C here in the cosine law, so I'm just going to change the side I'm looking for to C, which means that would be a big C, and then these other two would have to change to A and B, doesn't matter which is which would make that little a and that little b. Of course, the small letters go across from the big letters, and the big letters are always angles. Okay, so now that we've relabeled our triangle, real easy to just punch in what we know. We got c squared equals, oops, I guess I called A17, doesn't actually matter which is which, 17 times 10 minus 2 times 17 times 10 times the cosine of angle C, which is 31. Okay, and if I punch that right hand side into my calculator, I'm going to get 97.56311,776. Notice I don't want to round yet because I don't have my final answer. Ideally, you're just going to leave that 97 point blah 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 in your calculator, and then we just need to square root both sides, and we end up with the absolute value of C equals approximately 9.9 because they've asked for it to the nearest tenth of a centimeter. So C is going to equal positive or negative 9.9, and of course the side length can't be negative, so we're going to have 9.9 centimeters as our best approximation to the nearest tenth of a centimeter. Okay, notice using cosine law to find side lengths is ridiculously easy. Okay, and let's just do it one more time just for practice. We're looking for side length QR again, so we'll call that C, which means that's big C, and we'll call that A and that B, which means that that's little b and that's little a. So plug everything we know into our formula. We get c squared equals 17 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 17 times 10 times the cosine of, in this case, it's 131. Fire that all into the calculator, and I get 612.0600,699. Again, I'm going to square root both sides, so I get the absolute value of C equals 24.7, so C equals positive or negative 24.7, and of course we don't have negative side lengths on a triangle, so that's going to be approximately 24.7 centimeters. Okay, if we want to use the cosine law to find angles, our best bet is to rearrange it so that we have cos C by itself. Okay, so let's just rewrite this here. C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2, AB cos C. So first thing we're going to do is subtract A squared from both sides, and let's also subtract B squared from both sides. So I get C squared minus A squared minus B squared, and that's going to equal negative 2AB cos C. And then one more step to get cos C by itself. We divide both sides by negative 2AB. So we get cos C equals c squared minus a squared minus b squared all over negative 2ab. Okay, usually we're not going to leave that negative on the bottom, so let's just multiply top and bottom by negative 1 over negative 1, which is of course the same as multiplying by 1. And so I'm going to have to multiply that negative 1 through there. And so I'll end up with a squared plus b squared minus c squared all over positive 2ab. Okay. This is a very useful form of the cosine law. It will not be given to you on tests and quizzes. So you either need to know how to get from here to there, or you need to just memorize that highlighted formula. Okay, notice cosine law is way easier to use than sine law. You will always only be able to get one angle. Okay, so first let's notice that if we have an angle in a triangle, it's got to be between 0 and 180. Right? All angles in the triangle add up to 180. So each individual angle has to be less than 180. And of course we also can't have negative angles in a triangle. It doesn't make any sense. So our angle has to be between 0 and 180, which means it has to be in quadrant 1 or quadrant 2. Well, if cos is positive, it's got to be somewhere here in quadrant 1. If cos is negative, it's got to be somewhere here in quadrant 2. So there's none of that two possibilities thing going on like there was with sine. Okay? So let's have a look at question 2 down here, and we'll be able to see that there's going to be only one possible angle. Okay, first let's do a really quick rough diagram here. And we've got KMN. They tell us KM is 16 centimeters. KN is 11 centimeters. And MN is 6 centimeters. And they want us to find angle M. So let's change that to a C, a big C, which means that's a little c. And then we just need to change the other two to A and B. Doesn't matter which is which. So that's going to be a little b, that's going to be a little a. So using our formula we crunched out on the last page, we're going to get the cosine of c equals 16 squared plus 6 squared minus 11 squared over 2 times 16 times 6. So cos of c is going to be 171 over 192. Okay, and we know that that's going to be between 0 and 180, so let's figure out our reference angle. Cos of our reference angle, alpha, is going to be 171, or the absolute value of 171 over 192. Use our calculators to figure out that alpha equals approximately 27 degrees. And because we can't have anything down here because it's between 0 and 180, our terminal arm has to be there. So that's going to be 27 degrees there. So angle C has to equal 27 degrees. And of course angle C was actually angle M. So to answer this properly, we'd have to say that angle M equals 27 degrees. Okay, and part B is going to be pretty much the same as part A. Start by drawing a diagram. And this is triangle STU. S-T-U. And we've got ST is 16 centimeters. SU, 20 centimeters. And TU is 6 centimeters. and they want us to find angle T right there. So let's change that to a C, which makes that a little c, and then change the other two to AB. Order doesn't matter, so that'll be little a, that'll be little b. Okay, and fire that into our formula. So cosine of big C is going to be 6 squared plus 16 squared minus 20 squared all over 2 times 6 times 16. And in this case we get negative 141 over 192. So our reference angle is going to be the absolute value of that. We can fire that into our calculator, and we'll get that alpha is approximately 43 degrees. And we know we can't be down there. So if cosine is negative, our terminal R must be there. That's 43 degrees. So our angle C must be 180 minus 43 degrees, which means that it's going to be 137 degrees. So angle T equals 137 degrees. Alright, so yeah, basically finding side lengths with cosine law is ridiculously easy. Finding angles is a bit harder. I recommend you memorize that rearranged formula, and also remember that you're going to have to do a quick little diagram like that, but there's always only going to be one possibility.